What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to my podcast. Yes, I am back at school. I'm actually pretty excited about it. I actually like my classes and stuff. I get to work, be productive again, which is pretty nice. Get to see my friends again, which is always great. Party, go nuts, have fun, all that good college stuff. Now, I'm going to be discussing the pathological liar known as George Santos. He is the biggest liar in politics and maybe the biggest liar. Forget politicians for a second. I mean, he's maybe the biggest liar I've ever seen, even for a politician. I mean, it's he lies about so many things. It's to the point where it's like, why are you even lying about this? Like, it's actually become like a mental illness. Now, I can understand, like, because politicians, they lie all the time, right? I mean, it's one of the things that they're best at, to appeal to their base or to make themselves look good, like to spice up their resume. They might lie about this, or that. Like, maybe they'll lie about where they worked. Maybe they'll lie about people that they've met. They make up stories. I mean, tons of politicians do that. That's one thing. It's another thing to lie about your entire life, to sort of create another person that you want to be. I mean, it's an extreme character flaw. And the amount of times George Santos has lied, which is way too many to count. I mean, God knows. I mean, his name might not even be George Santos. I mean, that's an actual discussion that's going on right now, because some people say, like, oh, he used this last name, or for it's insane. I mean, there's a lot of people that are looking into it right now. This is an extreme character flaw. I mean, how uncomfortable do you have to be in your own skin in order to lie about all these things? It's absolutely insane. I'm gonna go through all his lies, all the ones that I'm aware of. There's tons. There's tons. I mean, I won't go through every single one, but just the ones that I think are important. Now, I'll give you a few examples. George Santos lied about where he went to school. He said he went to Baruch College, and he said he went to and Horace Mann. Now, these are two private schools. They are very elite private schools. George Santos said he attended both those schools, and there was a few highly reputable sources that looked into that, and they found no evidence whatsoever that he had attended either of these schools. He also lied about his ancestry. He said he had people from his past that were Jewish, that suffered during the Holocaust, that had to come to America because they had seen how vicious the socialist regime had been on his family. However, people looked into it, and it turns out there was no evidence whatsoever that he had any Jewish ancestry. Both his maternal grandparents came from Brazil. I'm not sure about his paternal grandparents either, but according to resources, they did not come. They didn't have any Jewish ancestry either, which means George Santos obviously doesn't. So he lied about that, and I think he even apologized for it. But I mean, you can believe somebody if they apologize for something that seems a bit more minor, although it's still weird to lie about something like that. But at least that's forgivable. But then you really begin to question somebody's apology when they're constantly pathologically lying about something. He also lied about where he worked. He said he worked for Goldman Sachs. He also said he worked for, I believe it was called like City Fields. It's something I'd never heard of it before, but people looked into it. He never worked at either of those places. So once again, that's another lie. Now, those were just some appetizers. Now, that all seems like very strange stuff, right? And something that I don't even know why you would lie about that, right? Now, so that might seem pretty bad right off the bat. It's going to seem so minor compared to the lies that I'm about to tell you right here and now, because it's unbelievable. In fact, there's a few of them that I think are quite malicious. I'll discuss that, but it's going to seem like it's not a big deal at all. The lies that I was just talking about. Now, in 2016, there was a shooting in Orlando at an LGBTQ nightclub. George Santos, who is openly gay now, although he said he was always openly gay, but never really admitted it until I think very recently. So people question whether or not he was always openly gay. So again, that might have been another lie. But nonetheless, there was a shooting at an LGBTQ nightclub in Orlando back in 2016, and Santos claims that four of his employees, or employers rather, had been shot in that massacre. People researched it, and none of the victims had worked for him. So, and that's a pretty bad. I mean, to lie about your own friends being killed. First off, why would you even lie about that? Like, how is that a good thing? Like, how does that make you like he himself look better in any possible way? Lying. I mean, are we supposed to feel sympathy towards him? Because that is a very. I don't know why you would want to draw that sort of sympathy towards yourself, especially one that's a lie. I mean, why would you it I don't know, man. I almost feel like I'm trying to get into this guy's head as I'm going through these lies, but it just it doesn't make sense. I don't know how somebody could think like this. You can't get into everybody's head, especially the those are who are insane. It's crazy. Now, this one is also pretty bad. He also lied about creating a charity that would help save the lives of animals, pets, dogs, cats. He claimed he created an organization in 2013 that, of course, would help save these pets. He claims he saved, what was it, about 3,000 cats, 2,400 dogs. In total, it was like tens of thousands of pets, animals, you name it. Once again, people researched it, and it turned out it wasn't true at all. So, again, that's a really bad lie. Really bad. And to me, this one might be the worst one. I might be controversial in saying that since he said a lot of lies, but this one I think is pretty bad and pretty malicious. He lied about his own mother's death. Now, he claims that his mother worked in the South Tower of the World Trade Center and that she managed to escape but battled cancer due to the lingering effects of the attack. If I mean, I'm sure you're familiar with a lot of people that even if they did escape from those towers, they still had a lot of dirt, rubble, a lot of the shit that came from that towers that really got smoke inhalation. A lot of people suffered from cancer, and even to this day are still suffering the consequences of that. You know, it just really goes to show how terrible that day was for all Americans across the country. He said in a tweet in July of 2021 that 9/11 claimed the life of his mother and that she suffered a battle with cancer for the next few years until she passed away. He said only months later, in December, that his mother had died of cancer 5 years ago, which would have been December 2016 at the time. That's not a few years. That's like a long time. And people looked into it, and there was no evidence whatsoever that, and in fact, somebody, I believe it was John Field of the Field Goods Organization, which is a charity for 9/11 first responders, victims. He actually looked into it, and there was no evidence whatsoever that George Santos' mother had worked in the towers and what was one of the people that they were helping fight for who had suffered during the attacks. The only record of his mother having been employed in the United States was for a company in Queens that shut down in 1994. Now, this one's also pretty bad. I mean, he lied. I mean, first off, he's lying about the place where he went to college, which isn't so bad in the grand scheme of all of this. But he also lied about playing on the volleyball team and having knee surgery or like something about replacing his kneecaps. Like, why would you lie about this? Why would you even need to lie about it? It's ridiculous. I mean, it's one thing to lie about something to where I could understand why you're lying, even though it's wrong, but this doesn't even make sense at all. In fact, he seems so it sounds so convincing when he's saying it. It's almost as like he created a script for this, practiced it, and is now just displaying it on a podcast. Here, I can play you the video.
I actually went to school on a volleyball scholarship.
You did?
Wow. I did, yeah. When I was in Baruch, we were the #1 volleyball.
Did you graduate
team.
from Baruch? Did you graduate from there?
Yeah.
So did I.
I did.
So did I.
Oh, very cool. So, great school, great institution, very liberal, but very good professors who don't show their bias, which is very interesting. But that's a whole nother conversation. But it's funny that we went to play against Harvard, Yale, and we slay them. We slay them. We were champions across the entire Northeast corridor. Every school that came up against us, they were shaking at the time. And it's funny, I was the smallest guy, and I'm 6'2". I sacrificed both my knees and got very nice knee replacements from HSS playing volleyball. That's how serious I took the game.
Yeah, well, that's how serious you're taking politics as well. Remember this name, folks, George Santos.
That's bad. This is like a mental illness. I'm not saying he's like a horrible, terrible person or anything, but these are things you shouldn't lie about. I mean, this is like serious stuff. Like, how are you going to lie about your own mother's death? How are you going to lie about creating an organization that helps animals? How are you going to lie about your making up employees being shot? He could have lied about his own name. This is a serious character flaw. Martin Luther King Jr., obviously one of the greatest Americans who have ever lived. He was a very, very brave man who fought for civil rights, fought for the voiceless, and really created a movement that helped bring us forth throughout the civil rights movement and pursuing justice for all Americans. Now, a statue, this is so funny, a statue was recently created of, I guess, sort of MLK's hands or somebody else's hands, and they're kind of like rapping, saying like, oh, we're in this together. But the problem is, the statue of the person, you can kind of see like their sort of their torso, but they have no head. It's just their arms and their hands like wrapping around each other. Take a look at this. It looks like two anacondas wrestling each other. This does not, I hate to say it, but this just looks ugly. I mean no disrespect to MLK or the symbol of the statue, but that does not look good. I would reform that, or at least give them heads so it looks somewhat human. Oh, actually, that might look worse. That might look like an anaconda actually strangling him. So yeah, I'd really think about fixing that because it doesn't quite look the way you think it does, despite what it symbolizes. Okay, so that's that. Last story. Joe Biden. What else is new? More classified documents in other places. What is this, like the fourth or fifth batch at this point? I have no idea. It's been a very rocky start to 2023 for the Biden administration, especially coming up on the halfway point of their first term in their administration, or throughout their presidency, assuming that Biden doesn't get elected again, although he might. Who knows? It's looking more and more likely within the past 2 years that he's actually going to get the nomination again. That could be very, very plausible. I didn't really think it was as much a couple of years ago when he got inaugurated, considering that he wasn't the most beloved person even on the left, and he was just sort of I don't know. It's like when you place a president in because they're supposed to be a stepping stone for, let's say, they want Kamala Harris, they want somebody else. I have no idea. But regardless, Joe Biden, he said some weird things within these past couple days. I mean, this is strange. I mean, I think this was either yesterday or the other day. He has said this thing before when talking about banning assault weapons, right? He says he's going to ban assault weapons, but then his argument is, oh, if you want to take down a government or something, or I don't know what the hell he was saying. He was saying something about like F-15s like bombing us, like, oh, we're going to instead of assault weapons, we're going to have F-15s bomb the government.
If you need to work about taking on the federal government, you need some F-15s. You don't need an AR-15. I'm serious. Think about it. Think about the rationale for this. It's about money. Money, money, money.
And it's like, okay, if you're talking about F-15s and nuclear weapons as a force of government, yeah, I think we definitely need those assault weapons, if not something stronger. So that's very strange. He also started singing happy birthday to somebody, but then he forgot who he was singing happy birthday to. It was like, here, I'll show you it.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Alan. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, dear. Oh, the hell was I saying? Happy Halloween, Christmas. Mazel Tov. Oh, what is it? Is it Kwanzaa? No, man, I gotta go to bed. Ugh. Anyway, that's all the news I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I should have a video coming out this coming Saturday, marking the halfway point of the Biden administration and what I think about the job he's been doing in office thus far within these past 2 years. Thank you all for watching. Make sure to hit the like button if you enjoyed. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification so you get all notifications and can see all my content when it comes out. Yeah, I will see you guys later.